We're going to look at cosine law part 2. Again, a review of what we've talked about in terms of using the cosine law. Really important to know that we can use the cosine law under the following conditions. One, it's got to not be a right angle triangle. So none of the angles in the triangle should be 90 degrees, and if that's the case, then you can potentially use cosine law. The other time when you can use cosine law is when you do not have an angle opposite side pairing. If you don't have that key, that complete ratio, then you can't use the sine law, and therefore you must use cosine law. Okay? And so as we go through and we're looking at cosine law, really there's two situations in which you can use the cosine law. One is when you're dealing with two sides in a contained angle, so what we had called before as the scissor pattern. So for example, if we have a triangle that looks like this, and we don't know this side, okay, but we do have this angle, and we have this side length, and we have this side length, okay? So those two things together, that's going to make up our scissor pattern, and that'll allow us to solve for this unknown angle, okay? Or sorry, that unknown side length. The other time that we can use the cosine law is when we're actually dealing with all three. When we're looking for an angle, we don't know any of the angles, so we don't know that angle, or that angle, but we do have the length of all three sides. And if you have the length of all three sides, then you are able to make use of the cosine law. The other thing is that we talked last day about cosine law is all relative, or the equations you're going to use for the cosine law is all relative to either the side length or the angle that you're looking for. So in the chart that we have here, for figuring out finding an unknown side or figuring out an unknown angle, we have the three basic equations for figuring out the unknown side and the three basic equations for figuring out the unknown angle. Okay? Again, if you encounter a triangle that is labeled something other than ABC, where the angles are perhaps labeled DEF or XYZ or PQR or something like that, you're always welcome to relabel the triangle in an effort to make it easier for yourself to understand. So please be aware that those are the conditions under which we can use the cosine law.